Kia ora, I'm Brenda. I'm a geomorphologist at Earth Sciences New Zealand, and today I'm going to introduce you to New Zealand's Landslide Database. Landslides are a common feature of New Zealand's steep and rugged landscapes. So to build safer communities and more resilient infrastructure, we need robust data to understand where and when these landslides are going to happen. Here at Earth Sciences New Zealand, we've undertaken a major upgrade to the New Zealand Landslide Database. The data includes features like landslide source areas and debris trails and attributes that describe the landslides. You can access the Landslide Database through a new interactive web map. Anyone can explore the landslides, but if you register for free, you can unlock more features like polygon views and advanced search tools. Knowing where and when the landslides have occurred in the past offers us insights into where they might occur in the future. This world-class resource offers information to support everything from planning new developments to emergency management and climate adaptation. It's important to note that the database doesn't include every single landslide that's ever happened in New Zealand, so areas without mapped landslides may still be at risk and require further investigation. So whether you're just curious or a technical user, the New Zealand Landslide Database empowers you to know more about the environment we live in and make smarter decisions about where we live. Regina will now take you through a tutorial of the New Zealand Landslide Database and how to explore New Zealand's landslides. Let's get started.
When you first come to the web map and you're not signed in, you will see that the query functions don't work. You can also see that the only layer you can see is the landslide site layer. You cannot see the other feature classes. And there's some other tools that you can't see that you will be able to see once you sign in. And there's also the tables down here. You will see those when you sign in. So to sign in or to register, you just need to click on this tab up the top on the right. And to first register, you hit this and you enter your details, your user type, the organisation that you're from, your intended use, and yeah, just simple as that. Once you've signed in, you can see that the query panels are now red, so they are active, and there are 3 tables down here that you can see, and also we can now see all of the landslide features in the database. The web map has got different sections, so the main map is visible here. You can drag the table up and down, and you can also drag the dashboard back and forth to increase the real estate of the map. On the left hand side we've got a dashboard, and there's a little info icon that tells you what the various information is, and there are also charts that change as you pan around. And there is a inset map bottom left here that shows you where in New Zealand you currently are on the main map. There are 3 different tables. So there are landslide sources, landslide outlines, and landslide debris trails. So the landslide sources, the first table, that is the area where the material has been sourced from on the slope. The debris trails is the area that's affected by the landslide as the material moves down the slope, and the outline is a combination of those. So not every landslide has got all of the layers that are shown in the legend. Every landslide will have a point or a pin showing the landslide site, and then there's either a source polygon area or a source point or an outline area. And then the ones that have sources might also have debris trails, but not every landslide has each of them. Each landslide has got a unique ID, which is the leftmost column of the tables. It's got the date of occurrence of the landslide, the event name, so these correlate to either a rainfall event or an earthquake. There's an age classification, generally either recent, which is post the year 2000, or historic. There's information on the activity of the landslide, whether or not it's active, and there's movement type, and all of this information is available in the data dictionary. Data dictionary, if you go to the About tab, you can download it. There's a link here. Okay, so at the top of the dashboard we've got the number of landslides that are displayed and the landslide events that are displayed, and that's relative to the total number that's in the database. The next chart is landslides by year, so the date of occurrence of the landslide. And then we've got quality rankings for each of the source data sets that have gone into the landslide database. So these quality rankings have been developed based on the source data sets to acknowledge that landslides are actually mapped for different objectives using different methods and base maps that have different resolutions and inherent uncertainties. So we have created a 4-class quality rank system from lower, moderate, higher to highest for each of the source data sets. And more information can be found in the data dictionary. Now the 3 charts that are displayed, the first one is landslides by trigger. So at the moment they're all either rainfall or earthquake triggered. The next is movement type, so what kind of landslide it is. So is it a slide or a flow or something else? And the last chart are landslides by size category, and that is either small, moderate, large, etc. So you can find more information on each of the charts by hovering on the heading, and it'll pop up a little info box. Okay, so the landslide and other layers are hidden neatly within this layer menu at the top right of the map. The first thing you find is the legend, and you can actually leave this on as you pan around if you want to know what each of the landslide features are. The next menu is the landslide layers menu, and here you can toggle on and off different layers. There's a little info tool where you can find information on what each of the layers means. You can also change the transparency of the landslide layers if you want to be able to see through them better. Okay, so now we're looking at Hawke's Bay to explore some of the other layers. So we've got active faults here because landslides are often triggered by the rupture of faults during earthquakes. So that's a useful layer to have. There's also information on that if you hit the little info tool. And as you zoom in, the active fault database breaks out from the 1 to 250,000 scale to the detailed mapping, so you can see fault traces as well as fault avoidance zones and fault awareness areas. And again, you can change the transparency if you want to be able to look through those layers. We also have a land cover layer from the Bioeconomy Science Institute, which shows you the type of land cover, because we know that some types are more susceptible to landsliding than others. We also have a national hillshade, which is from Toitu Te Whenua, LINS, and it shows you the topography and you can also change the transparency, especially in relation to other base layers like the imagery. The last item in the layer menu are the base layers, so you can turn on the territorial or the regional council boundaries. You can also change the transparency of those. There's the topographic 1 to 50,000 scale map, the 1 to 250,000 scale map. When you want to have more information on each of the landslides, so you can actually click on each landslide feature and there's a little pop-up that shows you the key information for that landslide. And it also tells you the quality rank for the data set that it came from, and you can click on report link and it downloads the PDF report that's associated with that data set. The pop-up is a convenient way to see the key information that's available for each landslide, but that information is also available in the tables at the bottom. So each landslide has got a point that's usually in the centre of the landslide source, so where the material has come from before it went down the slope, and that's the yellow polygon or area. The blue area is the debris trail, and you can also see that information in the legend here. So up on the top left there is a query filter panel, and this is where you can query the database by an attribute or tabulated information of that landslide. So for example, we can query the database on all landslides that have been triggered by earthquakes. So the tables are subset, so you can see which landslide sources are triggered by an earthquake, which outlines, and which debris trails. And to clear the query, you just click on it again and hit clear, and you'll see all of the data in the database again. The other way to query the database is by a polygon or drawing an area. So you click on the button and then you draw the area that you're interested in, and it will highlight the landslides that you've selected in the map, and the tables will subset and you can just see the landslides within that area. The other way you can select landslides is by clicking on the settings menu and using select by circle. This allows you to highlight all landslides within a certain radius of a feature of interest. So you just click and drag the circle and release it, and it highlights all of the landslides in that circle and subsets the tables by just the landslides inside that circle. If you are interested in landslides that occur within a certain distance of a feature, you can use the measure by distance tool and look at the distance of a landslide, for example, from a certain feature. If you are interested in seeing landslides that have occurred around a certain address, then there is an address search function that you can use here. You can also search on coordinates. So we've got New Zealand transverse Mercator 2000 projection, or WGS 84 in decimal degrees, minutes, seconds, or lat long, which are the more common coordinates that GPS or other navigation systems use, like Google Maps, Google Earth. If you need to print a PDF report of the current map extent, you can do that by going into the Tools menu and clicking on Print Map. So there are a few tabs up the top to select from. The web map takes you back to the full extent of the web map. There's an About page that gives you information on the database and also further resources. This is where you can download the data dictionary and you can also access the metadata. There is a Resource tab which has frequently asked questions and answers in there, if that's useful for you. There are also further links that might be useful, and the general terms and conditions are also shown. And if you would like to contact us, there's a tab for that, so just enter your details with your message and send it through. And the data that you see on the web map will continue to be updated as we load more data sets into the database. Cool, so this is the upgraded New Zealand Landslide Database web map, and I hope you find it useful.